Hi boys and girls, this is lesson 311, tenths and hundredths of a meter. During this lesson you will explore decimals in the context of measurement. So we've been talking about them in base 10 blocks. We've talked about tenths and hundredths. Now we're going to talk about it as far as centimeters and meters. So in the context of measurement, another way for you to get a picture and a handle on the decimal aspect of things. Make sure you have this in your notebook, dated for today with the lesson number and the name. Okay, so right now, estimate. Is the door to your room or the door to your house or even the door to our classroom more or less than 1 meter long? What do you think? So write down what you think. Is it more or less? And then how do you know? Do you have a personal benchmark that you use to picture how long a meter is? If so, jot that down. If you don't, here's a couple that you might borrow. So a meter is about the width of the door, not the length, which is what I asked you in the first question, but the width to the door, okay? Or another thing you could think about is for an adult woman, if you go from the left shoulder and you extend your right arm out to the side, from the left shoulder all the way across the body down the length of the arm, that's about a meter. So definitely less than that, like from the nose out to the tip of the finger for a man. Does that give you a little bit of a picture? Can you imagine why it would be helpful to have a picture? What if you're needing to figure something out and you don't have a measuring tool with you? It helps to have those, right? Do you remember learning some personal references or personal benchmarks in 3rd grade for centimeters? Hopefully you remember maybe the width of your pinky finger, or the width of a paper clip, or a crayon. All of those are about a centimeter. Okay. So, remember the other day when we were talking about money, when we were trying to figure out decimals, and we were using money as another? So we've done base 10 blocks and money, and now we're doing measurement, all to understand the whole decimal concept. So remember when we were talking about money, and we were saying when we were comparing it to our Greek and Latin root study, and we realized that cent is 100. That's what the root cent is. And we can remember that because we think about 100 pennies or 100 cents in a dollar, or 100 years in a century. So we've got that root word there, century, and cents in the dollar. So if you think about all of that I've just said, how many centimeters do you think would be in 1 meter? Give that a thought. Write down what you think and why you think it, and when you're ready, come back. Hopefully you decided there would be 100 centimeters in 1 meter. 100 centimeters in 1 meter, right? Okay, so with that in mind, let's think about our base 10 blocks. So the little cube, we know, is a 1 centimeter square. So knowing that, how many of those would fit on a meter stick? So think about what we've said. Hopefully you'd be able to tell me 100 of those. 100 little centimeter cubes all lined up would go along the length of a meter stick. So if that's so, what fraction of the whole meter stick would that 1 centimeter cube be? Hopefully you'd tell me it's 1 out of the 100. So 1/100th. And what would that look like as a decimal? 1/100th. No tenths. 1 in the 100th spot. So then take a look at this. See if this makes sense to you. 1 cube equals 1 centimeter, which is 1/100th of a meter, which is 1/100th of a meter, 1/100th meter. Okay, so then let's use that to help us with the next thing. So how many centimeter cubes are in one long? Well, hopefully you remember that's 10. So how many longs would it take to make a meter stick? Hopefully you know that's 10 as well. So a long would be what fraction of a meter stick? Hopefully you would say it would be 1 out of the 10 that it would take to fill it, right? So then we've got this for us as well. I would have this, what is being boxed in there, in my notes. You don't need to write down all these questions, but you need to make sure you're getting the concept, and that's what's boxed in for you. So if you need to pause it to jot that down, do so, and then come on back. So, my very rough drawing. Oh, Kira, how I wish I had some of your ability. So, I'm drawing there at the top. Let's see, let's highlight this for you. This here is supposed to be 2 longs and 4 little cubes. Yeah, I know. I wrote it for you because I'm sure you can't tell from my drawing. And then I put it on a number line as well, so that's what this is representing for you there. And I'm trying to show you that I'm on the 4th one over there. So 2 longs and 4 cubes. If I put it on a number line, how many hundredths of a meter does that show? So think about that. How many hundredths? So 2 longs, okay, got that, and 4 cubes. Hopefully when you add that all up, you're going to tell me it would be 24 hundredths. So if I'm writing that as a fraction, I'm writing it like this, 24 hundredths. As a decimal, 24 hundredths. Okay. So I've got it written on a little chart there for you because you're going to see something very similar to that in your math journal. So see if that chart down the bottom makes sense to you. All right. So this is in your math journal, decimals for metric measurement. Let's go through a couple of these together and then you'll do some on your own. So if you need to, be picturing the cubes and the longs that you could be putting on the meter stick. Hopefully that will help you. So for the first one that is already filled in for us, the length in centimeters. So we're talking about 36 centimeters. So how many longs would that be? Well, there's 3 in the tenths spot, right? And we know that longs are each a tenth, so that's how we get this 3 in the longs. There's 3 in the tenths. 10 longs make 1 meter. So 3 longs. How many cubes? Well, those are the hundredths, right? 6 of those. So I would be writing it 36 hundredths of a meter. So 36 centimeters are 36 hundredths of a meter. Yeah, that makes sense. So on the second one here, we have no longs and 3 cubes. So what's that going to look like in centimeters? How many centimeters would that be? Hopefully you would figure it's 3. It's 3 centimeters. So what would that look like as a decimal? Oops, that's a 0. Right? Because it's little cubes, and the cubes are in the hundredths because it takes 100 of them to fill that meter stick. So it's a third, I mean, it's, 3 hundredths of a meter. Okay, I hope you get that. How about one more? So there we've got 8 centimeters. So 8 centimeters. How many would that be as far as longs go? Do we have any in the tenths? We don't. Do we have any cubes? We do. So what's that look like as far as a decimal? Well, I don't have any tenths, and I have 8 little cubes in the hundredths. Okay, makes sense. You go ahead and do the next 3, and when you get those done, come on back. The next thing you're going to do before you check the answers is look at the bottom of this page, and it says, work with a partner. However, you're at home, so you're not. You're going to be working on your own. You're going to try to compare these 2 lengths. You can be picturing these as base 10 blocks. You can picture them along a meter stick and see what you come up with. So if you've got 9, looking at problem number 2, and you're comparing with greater than, less than, or equal to. So if I've got 9 little cubes, how does that compare to 1 long and 2 little cubes? Because that's what this looks like, right? Well, the 1 long is definitely going to be more, right? So in this one, I don't have anything in the tenths, and in this one I do. This has to be greater. Go ahead and do those others on that section. And then number 8 says, follow these directions on the ruler below. That's this one down here. Use base 10 blocks to help you if you'd like, so you can imagine what those are like. So it's telling you for A, make a dot at 4 centimeters and label it with the letter A. So 4 centimeters, I'm making a dot there. And I'm going to label that with the letter A. Okay, you go ahead and do B, C, and D. Give it your best shot. Okay, use the conversions, like for this one here, it's 1/10 of a meter. So what's that look like? 1/10 of a meter. What's that look like on this? Okay, use everything you've learned so far to help you with that. I'm going to put the answers up next. If you need to correct some of yours once you get the page done, make sure you do that and make it noticeable for me to see that you've corrected it so I know which things to talk about in the lesson. Alright, so come back when you have the page completed. And here we go. Here are the answers. See how you did. Make some corrections if you need to, and then be ready to show me this when we get to the lesson. Alright, have a good night.